My goodness, Nutley, what's all of this?
I'm building a swimming hole, Professor. Summers are so much better when you spend them in the water.
But there's a great big rock in the middle. How are you going to get rid of it?
Finally, I get to share my knowledge with the Professor. Well, Professor, allow me to explain. Over time, rocks can be broken down into smaller pieces by wind, liquid water, ice, and living things. This is called weathering. Soon this rock will be weathered away, and we'll be doing the backstroke in the deep end. Impressive how quickly the student has become the teacher, don't you think?
Nutley, I'm afraid that this is going to take a little longer than you're imagining.
According to my estimates. Oops, this is something else. But I'm guessing by tomorrow, tops, this rock will be history.
Actually, Nutley, while it's quite true that weathering is the process by which rocks are broken down, it takes a very long time for that to happen.
How long?
That will require a little explanation.
That's okay. We got nothing but time.
This is the Grand Canyon. It's one of the deepest cuts in the Earth's surface.
Are you saying that should be our new swimming hole?
No, Nutley. I'm merely using it as an example of what can be created by millions and millions of years of weathering. But long before all of that weathering, the Grand Canyon wasn't very grand at all.
That was the Grand Canyon?
Yes. You see, when water flows over rock, it can very slowly cause the rock to change its shape and begin falling apart.
See, Professor, that didn't take long at all. Happened right before our eyes.
Actually, Nutley, it took a very long time. Did you watch the timeline? What we just saw actually took many thousands of years.
I have a lot to learn, don't I?
We all do, Nutley. Water isn't the only thing that can change the shape of rocks. So can wind. When the wind blows, it can pick up sand, which is just tiny pieces of rock. Over time, that blowing sand can wear away the rock's surface and even carve the rock into a different shape.
That arch was made by the wind?
Over a very long period of time, Nutley. Pretty amazing, isn't it?
Ha! I knew that plants had something to do with weathering.
Specifically, it's the plant's roots. As they grow into the cracks in the rock, they slowly break the rock apart.
Wow! Roots are strong. I really need to be nicer to plants.
Let's see what can happen when water, wind, and plants all work together to break rocks apart. Mountainsides become boulders, which become smaller rocks, which become even smaller and smaller rocks, until you're left with pebbles and even tinier pieces of rocks that we call sediment.
Huh. If weathering that rock is going to fill my swimming hole with sediment, that won't be good.
Actually, sediment rarely stays in one place. It gets blown away by the wind or carried away by water.
Is that why rivers are muddy after a rainstorm? They're loaded with sediment?
That's right, Nutley. Very good. So you can see, Nutley, over millions of years, that's how the Grand Canyon became so grand. And remember, Nutley, weathering happens everywhere, not just in canyons. What is it, Nutley?
Well, if it takes that long for weathering to work, that big old rock is going to be there for thousands of years.
Well, Nutley, there is another way to solve this problem.
Squirrelabunga!
Oh, Nutley.